Matthew chapter 12, verse 32. One of the things that Jesus teaches, and teaches very clearly, is that the kingdom has arrived. And as a result, the enemy is pushing back. And so Jesus says the following. I'm actually going to start at verse 31 of chapter 12. Jesus says, "And so I tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the age to come." And what does that mean? Jesus is speaking here, and he's talking about a sin against the Holy Spirit. Many people read that and they're just scared to death. Have I committed the sin against the Holy Spirit? What's usually said, if you ask that question, then it's obvious you haven't committed that sin, if you're convicted and concerned. But the way we normally then go on from there, at least in American Christianity, is to say, well, the sin against the Holy Spirit is unbelief. So as long as you believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of the living God, everything's just fine. It's not what this says. The devil believes that. Think about it. I mean, does the devil believe that Jesus is the Messiah? You better believe it. Does the devil believe that Jesus died and rose? Yeah, you better believe it, and he's regretted it ever since, What is the sin against the Holy Spirit? Jesus says blasphemy against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Holy Spirit won't. What is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit? Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit is when we see God fulfilling the very things the prophetic word declares, when we see the mighty works of God being done, when we realize in our very spirits that God is at work and this is true and this speaks to my heart. And the sin against the Holy Spirit is when we slam the door on God, because that's what many people did. How did they respond to Jesus? They saw the mighty works that he did. And they said, well, it's by the power of the devil that he's casting out these demons. Now, Jesus doesn't say, you've just committed the sin against the Holy Spirit, but it's in that context that he warns, be careful, because the sin against the Holy Spirit is an unforgivable sin. When God is breaking into your life and God is convicting you of the truth and God is showing you who he is and who Jesus is and what this means for you, and you say, no, I want the status quo. We're in danger at that point of sinning against the Spirit of the living God. And let's face it, today many people want comfortable religion. We want a God we can be comfortable with. God is not comfortable. God is God. He is a comforter. But he is not comfortable because he disrupts our lives. Do you think Matthew had a comfortable God when Jesus said, follow me, and Matthew says, I'm leaving my old life behind? That's not comfortable, but it brings great comfort. And what Jesus is warning us is, don't slam the door in the face of God, who desires to have an intimate relationship with you and me and lead us into an experience of his great love. Because the Christian faith, it is a historic faith. But we're not saved by history. We're saved by relationship with Jesus, who died for us. And while the faith is historical, you can know all the truths and not know God. And what Jesus is saying, let the Spirit of God in. Don't slam the door on God as he is speaking to your heart and transforming your life.